Let me start out by saying that the Rocket Boys, I grew up not far from Homer Hickam grew up. I grew up in the coal fields of Bradshaw in McDowell County, not very far from Homer Hickam. My dad was a coal miner, worked all of his life in the low coal in McDowell County, and I was one of 6 kids that had to go to service to get the GI Bill to be able to go to college. But I'm here today to talk about a project that's already begun and work that's already begun to improve West Virginia. Back in 2009, the Boy Scouts of America made a big announcement that they were buying 10,600 acres of land in Fayette County. They were going to move their permanent home to West Virginia. At that time, they were not going to bring the Jamboree here. It was going to stay in Virginia. But they decided that West Virginia was the best place and the people in West Virginia wanted it. I think the best thing we have to sell for West Virginia is our people and our beautiful hills. And so when this announcement was made, a steering committee was put together to take advantage of what the Boy Scouts is bringing to West Virginia. I was asked to chair that steering committee. Our mission statement pretty much said what we want these scouts to see and their families to see and the leaders of the scouts to see in West Virginia is what the head scout, Bob Macusa, said when he made the announcement. He said, "We're in West Virginia because it is almost heaven." So we started out and we said, we are going to show the world that West Virginia is almost heaven. So the steering committee started out by saying, what do we need to do? First of all, we need to clean up the environment. We did that. There was a great example in Raleigh County of that already been taking place with Sherry's sweep. We targeted 9 counties as impact counties in southern West Virginia that we wanted to make sure that we put our best foot forward. Christy Bailey, who is with the Coalfield Heritage Trail, and myself, we decided to, first of all, we needed boots on the ground to get out in these 9 counties. So we put together a plan, the steering committee put together a plan to hire 6 VISTA workers and be there every day. Christy and I went to 9 county commissions and with a budget and said, this is what we want you to do for the next 3 years to fund these 6 VISTA workers to get out and help community leaders to clean up the area and get the people ready for what is coming. They all said yes. So we had 6 VISTA workers on the ground. Then in one of the steering committee meetings, and we had nothing to do with what was on the Bechtel Summit, but the scouts kept us, they were part of our steering committee, kept us up to date on what was going on the whole time. And they said, there's one thing that scouts are going to do they've never done before. Every scout that comes to Bechtel Summit, whether it's a high adventure camp or whether it's the Jamboree, will do 1 day of public service. So we said, if that's going to happen, we want our communities to take advantage of that. So as a steering committee, we asked Robert Martin, who is the executive director of the West Virginia Citizens Conservation Corps, to come on board because those are the kinds of things that they do. Robert and Jennifer Douglas and their staff did an outstanding job. From that point on, they took over the whole thing of communities submitting projects for Boy Scouts to get involved in, to all kinds of things within the community. They put out an application process. They involved a lot of volunteers. There's a volunteer group at Glade Springs that we had started a couple years before that, of business people that made West Virginia their home part-time. They wanted to give back to West Virginia. They love West Virginia. These are business people with PhDs and MDs, and they got involved as volunteers, and the Robert Martin, his group, involved those people in visiting these communities, these projects. To make the long story short, what happened during that period of time, the 40,000 scouts on that site this summer, and you take 6 hours of service, that's 200 and some hours of community service. If you read the newspapers while that Jamboree was going on, they did an outstanding job of promoting and and really showing what was going on in those community service projects. Those Boy Scouts love those communities in southern West Virginia. My feeling is that the impact of what happened this summer and what will happen next summer with the High Adventure Camp, and what will happen in 2017 when the next Jamboree comes, and what will happen in 2019 when the World Jamboree comes to West Virginia, that this, over the period of time, will have these young men and their families loving West Virginia. The people in West Virginia were so great in these community projects. They welcomed these Boy Scouts. Boy Scouts, most of them said that when interviewed about the community service project, their best day on the summit was the day they spent in the communities in West Virginia with the West Virginia people. It was an outstanding project. I think because of that, that project is going to do a great deal to improve West Virginia and the opportunities. Been involved since my retirement as a county superintendent and also as a county commissioner. I've been involved in some economic development. 2 or 3 of the foundations that I work with, we talked about spending money to advertise West Virginia. Right now, the Boy Scouts of America is doing a better job of marketing West Virginia than we could ever spend the money to market. There's a Boy Scout troop in every county in this country, and in every Boy Scout troop, there's footage there of the Jamboree and the individuals in that Jamboree having a great time in West Virginia, and the Boy Scouts are selling West Virginia as almost heaven. We organized and we presented West Virginia as almost heaven during that Jamboree. It was an outstanding event, I think a very successful one, and I think our people in West Virginia, that is the real strength of this country, the beauty of our state and our people, and I think that's what these scouts were exposed to, and I think in the future they'll bring their families back, and I think that hopefully there will be some business leaders that will see West Virginia and probably relocate or do something like that. So I think that is one step in the right direction in improving West Virginia. It's a great state, our people are great, and thank you very much for having me. Thank you.